First of all, I would like to invite the panelists of this first panel discussion to come on stage. May I invite Associate Professor Dr. Desha Sangkawan, Assistant Professor Dr. Pradit Thakeng Rangsit, Dr. Suchat Meung Keo, Assistant Professor Dr. Rom Yen, and Professor Emeritus Dr. Lim Kun Ong. Please. Honorable Bhikkhuni Thammananta, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to serve as I would like to call moderator rather than the chairs for this panel discussion, because I cannot share anything, but I'll try to moderate the ideas from the 5 panelists together, and also promote discussion in this plenary. We are honored to have 5 panelists on this stage. First of all, may I start introducing from my far end, on the left-hand side. Okay, my left-hand side is here. Yes, Dr. Suchat Meung Keo. Dr. Suchat Meung Keo, he was a former administrator of the Higher Education Commission, and at the present stage, he has been serving as the university councils of many universities, and sitting in many boards. I would like to spend time on this, but you can learn more of his profile from this booklet. And at the present, he is the president of the University Council of Ratchapat, University of Lampang. And with his experience, sitting in many boards of various universities, I believe that he can share with us his views, and especially when he looked back when he was the administrator of the Higher Education Commission, he may have new ideas what to do in the near future. And the second person, Assistant Professor Dr. Pradit Thakeng Rangsit. Dr. Pradit is the president of Phayap University in Chiang Mai. And he is not only the president of Phayap University alone, but also the president of the Association of Private Higher Ed Institution of Thailand. And he also has a position in the church as the ordained minister, the Church of Christ in Thailand as well. So with his background, I believe that he would have interesting concept to share with us. The next one is my dean, Associate Professor Dr. Desha Sangkawan. And we all know him since this morning already, so I will not spend too much time to introduce him, but he has vast experience, and he also sit in many committees appointed by the government as well. So we wish to hear from him, from his own point of view as well as the direction of the present government as well. The only lady on stage, Dr. Romyen Kosai Kanun. She is the assistant to the president of Mae Fa Luang University. And she has a very interesting background since she used to work in the Bank of Thailand as economist. I would like to ask her later on in private what is the reason behind why she changed her mind and whether she is happy to have this kind of decision. Because in terms of a professional career and in terms of honorarium, I think working in a bank is much better than working in the university. Anyway, Mae Fa Luang University is a very unique university because it has been established in order to inaugurate and to appreciate what the Queen's mother of the present king had done in the past. So the mission of this university is quite unique, and we will learn from her that, from that point of view, what are the roles in university community engagement. Last but not least, we have one neighbor colleague, Professor Emeritus Dr. Lim Kun Ong. This morning, we know him as the founder of the University Community Engagement Series. And now he will share with us his views on the changing role of universities in promoting community university engagement. He used to work in Malaysia, USM before, which was a private university, and now today he served as the Vice Chancellor of UCEC University in Malaysia, which is a private university, and he would like to share with us the strategy of introducing university community engagement as a private enterprise. So, ladies and gentlemen, I promise that I'll try to ensure that we will have lunch on time, because I know that if we don't have it on time, I will be in difficulty. So may I request all panelists that each of the panelists will take about 10 minutes if possible, and I'll try to leave some rooms for plenary discussion if you have. The topic of this discussion is rethinking policy directions on university community engagement. I heard from the opening address as well as the speech of our keynote. There are many rings in my brain now. We heard of beneficiaries to ourselves, the concept of beneficiaries to ourselves, and the beneficiaries to the others. We have heard about, whether we be brave to challenge ourselves, whether we are the right direction or not. And as a good educator, we should promote our students, our target group, and ourselves to ask ourselves, why we do this, why not that? We are talking about, to promote betterment, to promote the community, and to ensure for sustainability. So I would like to invite Dr. Pradit Takern Langsalit, because I have learned from him that he is going to give us some food of thought on this issue. Dr. Pradit, please.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. I don't know whether it's going to be the food or snack anyway. And I'm very privileged to be here this morning among you all. I believe that all of you are already engaged in the community development or community-based education. And I personally believe that most successful and happy persons are those who already learned and experienced in their own life situation already. Without community engagement, how could that person be successful? That is doubted. I personally was involved in whatsoever or one way or the others in the community or social engagement since I was in primary school as the head of the class. And also when I was in high school, I'm the president of the student association and involved in all kinds of activities, student activities. I involved in activities more than learning in classes. That's why I can be the president of a university. Otherwise, I would be a banker. Let me, just only a background, that when I was appointed as the president of this university, I look back to my own experiences and thought, what should it be as a president of a university? And what should it be like in this area of education to develop students to the way they should be going? And so I decided to call or to rename the university as the land of wisdom. As a minister or as a theologian, wisdom is more than knowledge. And I have so many arguments from my colleagues. Why don't you call the university the land of knowledge? I told them that knowledge can be learned, but wisdom should be revealed from your experiences. Not from classroom running, but from your own engagement in whatsoever activities and people, situation, and so on and so forth. So cannot be learned, but can experience. And when I try to capture myself, what should be my role as the president of a university? And finally, I said the key role of the university is to develop a person to fulfillment, physically, academically, and more importantly, as a minister, spiritually. So these three elements should be composed, juxtaposed in whatsoever ways we can to develop that person. So academically, they can learn from classrooms, from teachers, from friends, from books, from libraries, from space, from whatsoever, wherever. Socially, they can learn by going out to meet with people. And spiritually, from their own contemplation, compassionate, and also their awareness of a person as a person, not to treat others as an object. So that's my short introduction of what I would like to present this morning. I think the days of the academic ivory tower are over. Pure science is about the only field left where academic applications are not always in view. We simply do not have academic programs in higher education these days that are not part of career training in one way or another. Community engagement is typically subject-oriented. At Payap University, where I was the first, I'm very proud because I'm the first graduating class of this university and was with the university from the beginning until 5 or 6 years ago was appointed as the president. Payap University began with a merger of a nursing school and a theological seminary that provided training for Christian church workers. For more than a century, all these students were regularly doing things in the community with their constituencies and providing services to groups at considerable distance as well. This model is alive and well in all subject fields. It does not need a rethinking at all of policy to sustain this type of engagement. Students go outward to learn and serve as they prepare for careers in their subject fields. Community engagement has typically been directed outward, not inward. It has been the experience of every generation of students that the more they go out into villages, communities, and neighborhoods, the more they learn from those they are trying to serve. We know there is a lot of local wisdoms out there. We know some of it is being lost and it is valuable. But this insight has not resulted in academic policy which is effective in using that knowledge and wisdom. The first barrier to incorporating local wisdom into our instructional stream is that policy is biased toward only using instructors with academic degrees. The second barrier is that we have not developed the research and development methods for accessing and processing that local wisdom effectively so it can be part of our curricula. And so that those wise people are integral parts of our university programs. We need to learn how to get some of that wisdom flowing inward. Research is supposed to do that. But student involvement is even more needed than instructor involvement if local wisdom is to be valued. My challenges: first, students are less and less well-rounded. We admit that. As the decades go by, and we can see that higher education is more and more about training students for careers and professions. Professional associations are now heavily involved in helping design the curricula for students preparing for jobs in those professions. The trend is toward high degrees of civilization as soon as possible. What this means is that there is less and less time available to do character buildings, spiritual formation, social training, and values clarification. There is less and less opportunity to take students into new social situations, into alternative ethnic environments, and overseas for global perspective. The most dangerous thing about all this is that we are developing generations of experts, but we are failing to develop leaders for society. Secondly, students are self-centered. In fact, societies are largely self-centered, and that is the basic obstacle to developing expanding societies for an increasingly global world. It is a basic challenge of higher education to decide what reality is these days. If the fact is that we are citizens of the world, then universities must be providing education with this expanded vision, international networks and experiences, and a new perspective. But there is a lot of pressure to preserve and defend national culture and political entities. There are major rewards to institutions for doing that. Meanwhile, many of our stakeholders are demanding that we work with them and for them to develop human resources with skills they demand. It is a challenge these days for academia in higher education to decide what the reality we are committed to espouse is. The great temptation of those of us charged with administering universities is to try to do it all and make everybody happy. But we cannot long escape the need to take the leading role in building consensus about the nature of social reality in our times. Only then can we be responsible in the choices we make to achieve that vision of reality. Thirdly, universities are society's conscience. Institutions are conservative, we believe. It is the basic nature of institutions to conserve and preserve the status quo. Universities are no exception, but they should be. It is one of the historic roles of academia to teach not only our students, but our stakeholders and the wider society as well. We have a role to play in being the place where public policy, social justice, freedom and responsibility are only discussed but actively advocated. Governments may not like us to criticize them when they are behaving in irresponsibility, but they should not be able to suppress us or hide from us. How to meet these challenges? Meeting this challenge, first of all, Wallace